What's up everyone, it's Johnny from Transparency Cleaning Services, and today we're back in Burgess Hill at a property that we were at last week. So we cleaned the roof by hand. As you can see, the roof treatment is doing its magic. The moss is starting to turn orange, so initially we removed it all by hand, but you're never going to get all these little bits off, and that will gradually come up nice and clean over the next few months, and we'll keep an eye on it. But today we're here to replace the guttering with some nice deep flow, because the customers found every time it rains hard, they just pour and leak like a waterfall. So we're going to take all this down, polish everything up, put some nice deep flow in, and we're going to seal all the joints, because I find next summer you'll find new guttering will leak in places because it expands, it sort of contracts when it gets cold. So we're going to seal all the joints, make sure none of them come apart, and the customer gets a 10-year guarantee. So as long as they keep them clear every winter, as part of the terms, these gutters, there's no reason they won't last for years and years and years. Just wanted to highlight the treatment side of things to tell how you know it's working. So this is untreated moss, nice bright green, really healthy, all over the place. And then you can see where we've treated this side, and it's just got some of the neighbours. You can see how that's going orange. So this stuff is now, yeah, pretty much dead, and it will just break down and wash away. And that is what we want to be seeing when we've treated a roof. So we always come back after 6 months just to check up on it, and we'll know pretty much within seconds of turning up whether it's done its worked its magic or not. And on this case, yeah, it's definitely doing its thing. So I say we only did this last week, so give it a couple of months, all this black will start coming out of the tiles, and you'll just be left with the light beige colour underneath. And the customer wanted that, they wanted the moss off, they had enough of it, you know, falling on the patio, falling on their nice resin driveway down there, which is why we got rid of it. Sometimes it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, but sometimes it really comes down to what you want as a customer. Do you want to preserve the life of your roof, or do you want it to look really nice and tidy? It really varies with tile to tile, but we always talk about that with the customer and get a better understanding of what they want to achieve, and not just come in and clean the roof and make it look not aesthetically pleasing. Now, being a cleaning company that we are, I think it gets lost when putting up guttering is to make sure when you take off the old stuff, give the fascias a nice wipe and make them all look nice and shiny. So I'm going to put a bit of WD-40 on this, and it will just bring it up really nicely. I'm going to do the same with the guttering once it's on. It'll just make it pop, just very, very shiny, which is what I want. So when the customer comes out, they're going to look up and be like, wow. It's just little things like that, really important. And I feel like, you know, if you haven't guttering put up, you don't want to see handprints all over the fascias, all over the guttering. Give this all a good clean down before we do anything. Things I'm going to be looking out for as well, flashing is in really good nick on this house, which is really good. We had one yesterday, we did some fascia cleaning, and they had wooden fascia boards, and I should have taken a photo of it, because they didn't have this flashing, which is so important because it guides the rainwater into the gutter. Without that, it's going behind the gutter, and their fascias were completely rotten through. I tried to clean them up as best as I could, but there's only so much you can do with soap and a brush when it comes to wood rot on a fascia board. But yeah, this stuff's really important, so it's really good to see it's all in really good nick. So when we put the guttering back on, this will sit inside the gutters and just stop any water running down the fascia board, damaging the walls, water going behind the soffit and making the walls damp, because that's something a lot of people don't realise. For example, this bedroom window, if you look here, people tend to get damp patches by the window, and they just kind of live with it and wonder why it's happening. It's usually because this flashing here has gone and perished in the sun, whatnot like that. So the water's then going behind the guttering, in the soffit, it runs along, and then it starts to make the wall really, really damp, and then over time you start getting those damp patches. But people tend to not do anything about it because they're like, well, it's only damp, it's not really wet. But that is what's causing it 9 times out of 10, or a blocked down pipe and the water's, you know, overflowing behind the gutter because of that. Yeah, good to know. Well, job well done. Annoyingly though, the camera kind of died halfway through recording Joe putting the guttering together. But we're just doing a little flow test. So it is essential we run water through just to make sure it's going all the way to the downpipe, because if you don't do that, how are you going to know it's working until it rains really hard? And we don't want that to happen and getting called back. So always flow test it, make sure that, what's it called? Ah, no. Yeah, so it's always important to make sure